All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Race 1. We'll see Harry Volsmir and Nick Sorensen on the front row. Adam Barker and Dylan Steinbach have the second. Mike Dalling and Giancarlo on the third row. Andrew Lau and Yannick Gunther on the fourth. Mike Marshall, Dylan Murray rounding out your top 10. Cody Kennedy and Nicole, that's what she said, Creasel round out the field. All the drivers taking to the grid, far into the long straightaway. Thankfully, not a full pace lap this morning. That would take a while. Looks like almost everybody has made it to the grid. Some last minute fuel adjustments. Now all the cars are on the grid. Things about to get wild here in Germany this morning. They will start the race on the Grand Prix circuit. And we do expect to see a lot of patience in the early going here. A lot of drivers scrubbing those tires, keeping them clean and getting some heat in them this morning. They are going to need every bit of grip they can find. Did hear several drivers saying the Mercedes, if you can make it turn here, will be the car to beat. Nick Sorensen obviously qualifying on the front row, but the BMW and officials this week has been hard to beat as well. The Porsche definitely will be faster through the Nordschleife turns. And obviously that McLaren driven by Dylan Steinbach, it is we just don't know, but as light as that car is, we saw how much it was catching air. It's going to be very interesting to see how it does up against some of these monsters. Coming through the final sets of turns on the Nordschleife. We do have the chopper overhead this morning. And the blimp all zoomed in, ready to go. The pace car has hit pit road. They have fired. Harry shoots it down toward the first turn. Adam Barker, the champ, currently battling for second with Nick Sorensen into that very sharp first turn. Out of that first chicane, everybody's starting to get single file. A couple of drivers on the attack here early, including Andrew Lau in that Mercedes, looking to the outside of Giancarlo. Harry already has a 1 second lead over Barker. Sorensen sits in third. Steinbach back and forth. That car has the least amount of power, but also the least amount of weight. Mike Dalling sitting in fifth. Giancarlo in sixth. And a bit of a battle between the two Porsches up the straightaway, but Giancarlo comes out ahead. Harry Volsmeer and Adam Barker turn down into the Nordschleife, and here's where everything gets exciting. This first section of track, obviously downhill. Some very fast turns, and we know from this season that Porsche does not like the high-speed turns. It loves the tighter turns further down the track. And our first incident of the morning, Cody Kennedy in trouble. There's Cody in the BMW. Looked like he may have gotten too much of the rumble strip. Indeed he did. The car just breaks loose to the inside wall. Harry Volsmeer still out front. Adam Barker, though, has closed the gap. Now sits right on his bumper in second. The Mercedes of Nick Sorensen in third. Those three have pulled a 3-second gap so far. On fourth place, Dylan Steinbach. Dylan has Giancarlo a multi-toe. Dylan goes a little wide. Got a little bit of the grass there, but holds on to it. Giancarlo, a multi-time champ in this league. Steinbach goes wide again. Looked like he may have rolled out of it. Let Giancarlo by. Mike Dolling goes by. Now Andrew Lau up to 7th place. Trying to find a way back past that McLaren. Yannick Gunther sits back in 8th. Continues a consistent run here. Cody Kennedy has had another problem and is towed to pit road. Let's see what happened here. It looks like that hit to the wall. Oh, wow. Looks like that hit to the wall had damaged the steering heavily. Looked like Cody's car was crab walking down the straightaway. Hopefully he'll be back out and at least get a lap in here this morning. Dylan Murray now up into 9th. Mike Marshall currently in 10th. Nicole Kriesel in 11th. Adam Barker is on the attack. And with the new season coming this week, fully expect to see, as they come through the carousel for the first time, fully expect to see Adam Barker back in the Audi for the new season. That new upgraded Audi coming out soon. Nick Sorensen still sits in 3rd. Giancarlo has now made his way up into 4th, but is 3 1/4 seconds back. Mike Dolling in 5th. Steinbach holds on to 6th for the moment. Lau in 7th. Yannick still lurking back in 8th. We have seen countless battles this season between Barker and Volsmeer. looks like we are getting another show out of these two this morning. You see there on the track map, they do have a big straightaway coming up. They will hit the highest speeds of the morning, which is saying something. Look at the speeds they are running now. They'll slow down through a couple of turns out onto that straightaway. Oh, Harry goes a bit wide. This may be the moment Adam Barker is needed. Through that second carousel, Adam not able to capitalize. And down the straightaway they go. .168 miles an hour, the top out there. Next time by, we'll have to look and see what the Mercedes is doing at the end of that straight as Barker and Voltsmeer battling. Oh, Barker's in the wall. Harry's off. Oh, my goodness. Harry is going flying. Harry is now going to pit road, but Adam Barker is in for repairs. Sorensen goes to the lead. Let's take a look at that chaos. Side by side as they come up the top of the hill. Oh, Adam just gets a little too much of the rumble strip. Harry Voltsmeer did get the worst of that incident. Watch this. Almost saves it twice, but ends up tumbling and backs it in, loses the rear spoiler. Rudolph, I agree. I have seen that happen several times when racing here. I have to say, this is our first time broadcasting the Nürburgring, and really we were extremely excited coming into this one. We knew this race was going to have a lot of excitement in it. Race 2 will definitely be an interesting one. Whoever wins race 1 will be starting back in 7th place as the top 7 invert. Rudolph, I have to agree, side by side just about anywhere on the Nordschleife is dangerous, but that section coming off that straightaway, yeah, things can get ugly quick. That Mercedes just sounds mean. That big power it puts out, and obviously helps it a ton on the straightaways. But Sorensen has figured out how to get that thing turning this morning. However, Giancarlo in second, now just 2 seconds back, closing the gap. The other Mercedes currently runs in third. Mike Doling battling in fourth with Dylan Steinbach now in fifth. We saw Dylan lose a couple spots earlier on in the race, and Harry Volsmir had come off pit road, but has now had another problem and is back on pit road. Harry just making it back out off the Grand Prix circuit, headed toward the Nordschleife. Oh, he just turns it in. With the problems here early, Nicole Kriesel is now on the attack. She is up to 10th. Mike Marshall back in 9th. Adam Barker is back out on track in 8th. Nicole Kriesel has had a very consistent season, has stayed alive when others have not, and she now sits 9th in points. With not much of a gap to Giancarlo. If Giancarlo has any problems, she can move up to 8th. With Harry having problems here this morning, the points really could be shook up. As always, folks, if you have a favorite driver in the field, favorite car, favorite broadcaster, make sure you drop in the comments. Let us know who you're cheering for today. Or just say hello. We love talking to the fans at home. Sorensen has pulled away from Giancarlo now by 2.8 seconds. The Porsche does struggle in the straightaways where that Mercedes has a huge advantage. Mike Dowling back in 4th. Still has Steinbach all over his bumper. Steinbach maybe having some connection difficulties this morning. We've seen him blinking just a little bit. Meanwhile, Andrew Lau up in 3rd. The other Mercedes in the field is pulling a gap on both of them, now 2.5 seconds. Yannick Gunther, after that big win last week at Magna Coors, now no longer the cool one, currently sitting in 6th and closing in on Steinbach. Excuse me, a little bit of a hiccup. And let's see what this Mercedes does when he comes out onto that long straightaway. We saw 168 miles an hour out of the 2 BMWs last time by. Comes off that second carousel heading toward the long straight here. Has to slow it down for the right-hander. Now hammer down. Already up to 163 miles an hour. Surprisingly, only saw it get to 166. Roughly the same for Andrew Lau. Yannick trying to close in Adam Barker back there in 7th. Adam had fortunately locked up the championship coming into today. As Giancarlo just set the fastest lap of the morning, a 7:57.43. Steinbach into turn one, attacks down to the inside on Mike Dolling. Oh! A little bobble. Can Dolling shoot back to the inside? He does, but not enough. Now Dylan Steinbach back up into fourth. I have a feeling, Rudolph, you are definitely right on that. I think he is playing it with a little bit more downforce in the setup of that Mercedes, and it is definitely paying off. Heard several drivers talk about the fact the Porsche really good here, except on those straightaways. It can close the gap on anything through the turns, but on the straightaways has no way to attack. Just does not have the straight line speed. Steinbach in fourth. Now Mike Dolling all over the bumper. Can the McLaren pull away from the Porsche? While they battle, Yannick has closed into about 4.5 seconds. Adam Barker is gaining on Yannick, but he is 16.7 seconds behind on what will be the final lap of race one. Cody Kennedy and Harry Volsmir both still sit on pit road. It does appear Cody is out of race one. We may see Harry come back out for race two. Giancarlo is now close to about 1.7 seconds on Sorensen. Andrew Lau 5.7 seconds back in third. Steinbach currently in fourth. Still has Mike Dolling all over the back bumper. It does appear, though, Steinbach can attack some of these corners a lot harder than Mike Dolling can. He has been using every bit of the track, the rumble strips. It is not unsettling that McLaren at all. Deanna Gunther back in sixth, still holding about 5.8 seconds back. Adam in seventh has gained a couple of seconds on Yannick, but again, just too far back to make up 14 seconds on the final lap. Dylan Murray quietly rolling around in eighth place. Mike Marshall holds on to ninth. And Nicole Kriesel in 10th. Again, Mike Marshall might have the biggest challenge this morning, being that he is in a full motion rig and did not turn it down. Nick Sorensen continues to lead, but Giancarlo is almost there. Just over half a second behind. It is very, very difficult to drive defensively here. Sorensen cannot afford to look in his mirror. It's interesting that you say that, Rudolph, because we saw in practice the bumps upsetting a lot of cars, and that was another thing Mike Marshall was talking about. His motion rig with those bumps, it gets a little fun. We'll have to try and talk to him between races, see how he is doing. Giancarlo all over the bumper of Nick Sorensen now. Both drivers doing everything they can here. Giancarlo looked to get the nose in, but the Mercedes power just pulls a gap, closes the door. Giancarlo's best hope at this moment is making a pass in the next couple of turns, because once they hit the straightaway, Giancarlo goes to the lead. Sorensen appears to have had a slowdown. Giancarlo now has a 3 1/4 second lead, likely more than Sorensen can make up on the straight. That's probably the magic number there, Rudolph. Sorensen is gaining ground quickly, but it does not look like it is going to be enough. Coming into the final turn, Giancarlo has a 2.4 second lead. Andrew Lau in third closing in, but Giancarlo will win race number 1 at the Nürburgring. Nick Sorensen will come home in second, and Andrew Lau finishes in third. And let's see if we can get a word with our top 3, starting with third place, Andrew Lau. Andrew, that was a pretty I'm not going to say easy race for you, but a fairly safe one for you this morning.
Yeah, sometimes that's where you just need to have a good race around here. Keep it safe.
Well, you definitely did. The Mercedes, obviously the power advantage paying off here this morning. It looked like both you and Sorensen, as everybody goes flying, looked like both of you had the car handling as well too.
Yeah, all the weight over the front tires really helps around here, and of course the power down the back straight. Like you can just gap on the Porsches, except for Giancarlo, who is just fast on anything.
Well, that is definitely true, man. A great job this morning. Congratulations, a great podium finish.
Thank you, Doug.
Andrew Lau comes home in third. Nick Sorensen coming home in second. Nick, headed toward that straightaway there. Did you get a slowdown?
Yeah, that was a slowdown penalty for cutting the corner to the left a little bit. So, I mean, that shows you at Nürburgring. I made 2 mistakes, really, around the carousel in the lap before, and then 1 mistake there getting a little bit offline. And after all these turns, 2 little mistakes can make the difference. So
165 turns over, and then times 3 for the 3 laps you guys did to hold on to the lead as long as you did was really impressive and a great run. I did have a question. We did not see the Mercedes have the same speed we were expecting on the straightaway. Were you running a higher downforce, safer setup?
Oh, it's probably just me not getting a good exit out of the last turn. So, no, I wouldn't look too much into that.
Well, man, it was a great run. Obviously, a great finish to this one, and quite a battle holding off Giancarlo.
All right, thanks, Doug. We'll see what we can do in the next race.
All right, finally, our winner, Giancarlo. Giancarlo, I have to ask, had it not been for the slowdown, could you have gotten around Nick?
Not a single chance. It definitely wasn't going to be the chance through the tight, twisty bits, and even less of a chance down the straight, even with the draft. So I really just got very fortunate, really fortunate there at the end.
Saw you on that last lap, peeked the nose in a couple of times, but as soon as the exit of the corner came up, he just mashed the power and pulled away.
Yeah, I mean, in the Porsche against the Merc, really all you can do is kind of try to force a mistake. I don't know if me poking my nose here and there, or just showing it, is what led to the slowdown, but I guess in the end it worked out because as you said, once they get on the power in the Merc, they are gone.
Well, going into race 2, you're going to be starting from 6th place. You've got quite a bit of work to do.
Yeah, it's a long one though. I think there's gonna be one pit stop, maybe two. So we're gonna try to take it easy. It is a sprint. Or excuse me, it is not a sprint. Race. Yeah.
Well, consistency will be key. You definitely had it this morning so far. Good luck, Giancarlo.
Thanks, Doug.
Giancarlo, my mistake. We'll start from 7th place in race 2 after winning race number 1. What a battle that was. A lot of back and forth throughout that first race, so it'll be very interesting to see how the second one goes. Looks like Harry's still on his way to the finish line, as is Nicole. And Cody Kennedy even made it back out. He is working his way to the finish line as well. Does appear Cody is struggling. It looks like that car is still not handling right. See if we can dial up his in-car camera. I'm not sure if he is just taking it easy to complete a lap here. Now, obviously, that steering is still well and truly broken. He's got the wheel cranked all the way to the right, even in left-hand turns. As you see, when he straightens it out, that thing does not want to turn. That car is definitely trashed at this point. If he can limp it back to the finish line, that'll be shocking. Oh, ow! Nicole Creasel obviously has problems with that car as well, but she comes down the straightaway. She'll come home in 11th. Let's just see how much speed Cody can coax out of that car. Down the straightaway, hits 100 miles an hour. Does not look like he is going to get much beyond that, though. Hey, good morning, Martin. I guess they are racing in Germany. Guten Morgen. Cody Kennedy is done. Cody definitely had a rough time in race number 1 here this morning. Interesting note, we were discussing this in pre-race. You can actually go and drive the Nürburgring a lot. It is $25 a day to go run there. And if you have a van and you take a lot of weight out of that van, you can actually make it around in just over 10 minutes. The late, great Shabine Smith definitely proved that. Looks like a few drivers are going to come out and get any practice they possibly can here. Yannick sitting on pit road, as is Cody Kennedy. Martin, how the heck are you today, buddy? Looks like Yannick on his way out. Andrew Lau is going to come out. Let's see if we can get a quick word. Want to try and get a quick word with Mike Marshall. Hey, Mike, it's Doug in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Doug, what's going on, man?
Hey, we were talking during the race about the motion rig. Rudolph says he turns his down to about 40% for this track. I know you said in pre-race you didn't turn it down, so we were curious how you're feeling.
My back is killing me.
I can only begin to imagine. It's probably a good thing I don't have one of those. But, man, it's been a wild morning so far. And obviously the car catches air in a few places. That landing has got to be unpleasant.
Actually, that's the best part because all the vibrations and everything stop when you're in the air. It's crystal clear. It hurt. The landing hurts, but the rest of it's cool.
Speed doesn't kill. It's a sudden stop that gets you.
Exactly.
Oh, man, good luck. Hopefully, race 2 is a little bit more peaceful. You might soften the suspension a bit.
No. that would be cheating.
I got you. Well, good.
It's got to be real, Doug. It's got to be real.
I got you. Well, man, good luck in race 2. Hopefully that doesn't hurt too terribly much.
All right, Doug. Thanks.
Obviously, Mike feeling a bit rough. Yeah, no kidding. I'm doing great, Martin. Yeah, I hear you. All the best to Mike's back. You see him hitting the curbing there, and you know that's got to... Obviously, he's not hitting as much curbing as some of the other drivers. I did post on our Facebook the other day a really full motion rig I'd love to have. I don't know where the heck I would... Oh, gosh, that couldn't have felt good. I don't know where I'd put that ginormous rig, but I would find a place. I would definitely take that full motion rig when we're flying DCS. That would be awesome. Speaking of DCS, expect to see Angie back in the air Friday for Flight Friday because thanks to JDKB Games, she won another piece of content, so we're looking at getting her the F5, letting her learn to fly that jet, so look forward to seeing that on Friday. Warm-up coming to a close here at the Nürburgring. Then we go to the big one, the feature here, the endurance race. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the big one is here. The endurance race at the Nürburgring combined. Adam Barker and Yannick Gunther have the front row. Mike Dalling and Dylan Steinbach on the second row. Andrew Lau, Nick Sorensen have the third row. Giancarlo and Dylan Murray on the fourth. Mike Marshall and Harry Volsmir rounding out your top 10. Nicole, that's what she said, Creasel and Cody Kennedy rounding out the field. 12 cars started race number 1. All 12 of them managed to limp, 11 of them made it to the finish line. Cody Kennedy limped it as far as he could, almost made it to the finish line. And again, a lot of these drivers scuffing up those tires, cleaning the dirt off, putting some heat in them. This is going to get a bit wild, folks. Can Giancarlo come from 7th place to sweep the morning? Mike Dalling trying to make it 3 wide. Mike having a little fun as they head toward the start-finish line here at the Nürburgring. 15.18 miles, 165 turns every single lap. And folks, just so you can see what it's like to drive here, after they complete the first lap, we will hop in a car with one of the top 3 and take a lap in their car. That is a 8-minute lap. The fastest lap in race 1 was 7:57. We'll ride along with one of those top 3 and just see how wild it is to go around the ring. Here they go. They have fired green flag in the air. Barker shoots quickly out front. Barker locked up the championship last week. Great situation given where they were coming today. They are trying to get 3 wide. They are briefly 3 wide out of 1. Oh, some banging. Yannick Gunther involved. Andrew Lau is off. Harry Volsmir also had a problem and is towed to pit road. Let's see what happened to Harry. Headed off toward turn 1. It looks like he just pulls over and stops. Now watch this battle as Yannick and Andrew Lau bang together. And look, there was some netcode from the McLaren. It bumped Yannick out into Andrew Lau. We've seen Dylan Steinbach in that McLaren blinking a little bit. Looked like that came into play with that incident. Fortunately, as we see him blinking there, fortunately, it looks like Andrew Lau still on track, currently coming past Cody Kennedy to take 8th. Yannick Gunther lost a lot of ground after starting in 2nd. He is all the way back in 10th, but Yannick on the attack. And the BMW of Adam Barker gets a little bit light as they come over the hill. Nicole Kriesel has had a problem and gone to pit road. Nicole, that's what she said. Kriesel in the Ferrari just overshoots that chicane. And then a few moments later, looks like she has already got some damage to the left front. That car is not handling well. Martin, 6 or 7. With an 8-minute lap, it will depend on iRacing timing, but it will be between 6 and 7 laps. And likely requiring all the drivers to make 2 pit stops. That'll be a first for this season. Every race this season, we have seen drivers only have to make 1 stop. We have not seen anybody attempt to stretch the fuel for a full race yet. Adam Barker in the lead, 3.5 seconds over the Minister of Defense, Mike Dolling, and Dolling has Giancarlo all over his bumper. This ought to be an interesting battle. Giancarlo, one of the winningest drivers in NSS history. He is on the attack, looking to the outside on the Minister of Defense, but cannot complete it. Dylan Steinbach sitting back there in 4th, and Nick Sorensen in 5th. That blinking car ahead of him definitely causes a couple of disadvantages. It is very hard to make an attack where you don't know when you don't know where that car is. But additionally, as they come to that straightaway, when the car is not on screen, the physics go away, so Sorensen will not be getting the draft if he can't see the car. Dylan Murray now up into 6th. Andrew Lau in 7th despite the earlier incident. Yannick now up into 9th and is closing in on 8th place Mike Marshall. Adam Barker, meanwhile, holds a 3.25 second lead over Dolling. Dolling still able to defend, at least for the moment. While they battle ahead, Steinbach and Sorensen are actually closing in. They're only 1.5 seconds back. And you can see that lightweight McLaren just bouncing all over the place. The Mercedes a bit more planted. Mike Dowling has managed to put a little breathing room between him and Giancarlo. As here we go, that Mercedes power comes alive. Sorensen making the run on the outside. The McLaren has no answer. He's got to try and hold. No, he is going to sling back over, get in the draft, see if he can make something happen. Sorensen crests the hill and managing to hold on to fourth. And folks, we said we're going to ride along with the driver for a lap. Nick Sorensen on the attack. Let's ride with him as he crosses the start-finish line and sees that battle ahead that Giancarlo just won to take second. Down into a very, very sharp right-hand downhill off-camber turn. Back to the left, you hear the tires squealing, begging for mercy after a lap around here. Onto the straightaway, just a little short one, right-hander. Then another right-hander back down onto another short straightaway. A kink in the middle. That kink can definitely throw a car off track if you hit it wrong. Slowing down into the chicane. Gotta be careful not to cut too much and get a slowdown. You know, after race one, Sorensen being extra careful as he catches the back bumper of Mike Dowling as they go out onto the Nordschleife. Now's when those two Porsches ahead really come alive. But the Mercedes power does reel them back in. And the car coming up to speed, you hear the wind going by the windows. A 170 miles an hour. A little dab of the brakes now hard onto him as they go down into the right-hander back down the hill. Hey, good morning, Russell. What is going on, Russell? Why are we losing you, buddy? A very tight couple of turns here. Sorensen gets a run, though. Sorensen down to the inside. Here they come. But Mike Dowling holds him off. defensive driving by the Minister of Defense as they continue working their way down into the bottom. And a very, very tight turn down here at the bottom of the track. All the way down, hits the very lowest point on the track, back on the throttle as they head back up the hill. Mike Marshall has had a problem back behind. He has gone to pit road. We'll take a look here in just a moment. You hear the wind and the tire noise and everything as they come up. Sorensen all over the bumper of the third place car of Mike Dolling. Down into the carousel. The question is, once they hit the straightaway, can Sorensen pull the same move he did last time? Slingshot by into third. You know Mike Dolling will not make it easy. Mercedes obviously does not handle as well as that Porsche of Mike Dolling right ahead. Back on the power, just a few turns away, but that drop. You gotta wonder how that drop feels to Mike Marshall. Oh, and a hard hit. Nicole Kriesel has also had a problem back behind. Again, we will finish this lap out with Sorensen, then take a look at the couple of incidents. Oh, Sorensen gets right to the back bumper of Dolling. Holy cow, it all went wrong there for Nick. I am sorry to hear that one, Russell, but if you need to talk. Giancarlo sits in second, reeling in Adam Barker in the lead. Let's see what happened first to Mike Marshall, then Nicole Kriesel. There's Mike in the Conlift Solutions Ferrari. Oh, too much of the rumble strip. Oh, a hard lick into that wall. Nicole Kriesel comes out of the corner, gets back on throttle, gets too much of the rumble strip again. The Ferrari just takes that inside wall and goes around. And let's look at this incident between Sorensen and Doling. Oh, Sorensen just has to stab the brakes to not hit Mike. Dylan Steinbach just barely gets by that one. Sorensen did recover and now back in 6th, but lost a ton of track position as Adam Barker just set the fastest lap of the morning. 7:57.90. It appears Harry Volsmir is out of the race. Mike Marshall sits on pit road at the moment. Nicole in trouble again. Nicole is towed to pit road now. Hello Kitty on the attack once again this morning, but Giancarlo, 2.5 seconds back, is closing in. Mike Doling now to 3rd, Dylan Steinbach back at, whoa, holy crap! Man, Steinbach, we know some cars get light, get some air on some of these, but that McLaren was way off the ground. We know that McLaren's light. He just proved how light it was. That was crazy. And Steinbach using every bit of the track this morning. Currently running in 4th, trying to close down a 4.7 second gap on Mike Doling in 3rd. Steinbach heading back down the hill. Barker's lead is shrinking rapidly as Giancarlo now 1.7 seconds back. Giancarlo in the Porsche on maximum attack. The BMW does have a power advantage on the straightaways. Mike Marshall is back out on track after that incident. Nick Sorensen also back on the attack. Nick is now 1.4 seconds behind 5th place Andrew Lau. He has closed down a lot of that gap. Lau about to have his hands full as the two equally matched Mercedes prepare to do battle here at the ring. Andrew Lau has had a great season all season long. Currently sits third in points. May even take second in points due to Max Gunther not being here today. Fully expect to see Lau as a championship contender next season. Adam Barker's lead now less than a second. Giancarlo is there. Will Giancarlo, though, have an easier time getting around the BMW than he did the Mercedes of Nick Sorensen in race 1? Oh-ho! Flying Porsche. Oh, Steinbach just overshoots. He got a little bit of the grass. Manages to recover. No damage to the car, it appears. However, Andrew Lau and Nick Sorensen are closing in on him. And once they get to the straightaway, that Mercedes power is going to make up a lot of the gap. Andrew Lau now 1.3 seconds back from Steinbach. Sorensen just 1.25 seconds back from Lau. Lau is quickly closing in. Now 1.1 seconds back. Adam Barker and Giancarlo are on pit road, their first stops. Mike Dolan gives up third, he is in. Steinbach heads in. Lau is in. Sorensen, expect everybody in this time. What is the strategy, though? Looks like all the drivers taking tires here. We are just at the halfway point. Can they go the distance from here? In pre-race, the drivers said they could not. That everybody would have to make 2 stops. That may not be the case. They come back off pit road. Giancarlo now right on Adam's bumper. Dolling is on his way out. Nicole Kriesel headed back out. Dylan Steinbach rolls off. Nick Sorensen rolls off. Yannick about to come off pit road. Andrew Lau is still on pit road. Dylan Murray also on pit road. Cody Kennedy headed that way. Mike Marshall has already been to pit road for a little bit. Had to get some repairs. Don't know if we will see him in this time. Nick Sorensen has had a problem in 5th. Sorensen still out on the Grand Prix circuit trying to close in on Steinbach. Back end just snaps loose. Cody Kennedy now begins his roll off pit road. You heard Giancarlo say in race 1 he was just trying to force a mistake because he knew he couldn't pass the Mercedes. That BMW does have a power advantage over the Porsche. However, holy cow, not as significant. Let's see how much air Steinbach catches this time. Here he comes over the top. Nope. Looks like he's being a little bit more conservative. Oh, there it is. Drivers may need to get a pilot's license to take the McLaren around the Nürburgring. Nick Sorensen now back up into 5th. Andrew Lau finally got off pit road in 7th. Looks like he may have gotten a speeding penalty on pit road. Nick Sorensen is 3.5 seconds behind the McLaren of Dylan Steinbach. He is closing in. Mike Dowling also maintains 3rd after pit stops, but is now 17 seconds behind that battle for the lead. And what a battle it is. We keep seeing Giancarlo try and peek the nose in. So far, though, Giancarlo just unable to complete the pass. The new GT3 NSS season will start 2 weeks from today. They will have an off week next week. And I expect going into the next season, we are going to see a lot more Audis out on track. Specifically, I fully expect to see the Hello Kitty Audi to be back, driven by Adam Barker. Sorensen is now closed under 3 seconds to Dylan Steinbach. Dylan Murray, back in 8th place, is now closing in on Andrew Lau in 7th. Nicole Kriesel in 11th, letting the leaders get by. Don't forget to tune in tonight, 7:30 Eastern. BRR Cup Series is back. Tonight they are at the new Atlanta. Things are definitely going to get wild there. Tomorrow night, Jones BS Racing All-Star event. That is going to be one heck of a night. Adam definitely pushing the limits there. Mike Dowling maintaining that 17-second gap, has been unable to close in. Dylan Steinbach in 4th, now has Sorensen right about a second behind. Yannick Gunther now back in 6th. Has breathing room between Sorensen and Andrew Lau. Lau 17 seconds back, Sorensen 16 ahead. However, with the possibility that we could see another pit stop, everything could change then. Dylan Murray currently running back in 8th. Cody Kennedy in. No, Cody's having some problems. Mike Marshall currently running back in 10th, still on track fighting, as is Nicole, that's what she said, Creasel back in 11th. The Ferraris have struggled here at the Nürburgring today. BMW able to put a little bit of a gap on the Porsche of Giancarlo here. Meanwhile, Steinbach has a Mercedes looking to the outside, and once again, Mercedes power prevails. Nick Sorensen now back up into 4th place. Multiple problems earlier had set him back, but he is still in the fight. Adam and Giancarlo back out on the Grand Prix circuit. Headed toward the Nordschleife once again. It is the Nürburgring. Anything can happen here, and usually does. This race is not over until they cross the finish line. You also have to wonder, once iRacing releases rain, we might see some classic battles out here. Andrew Lau lost all that time on pit road, has been unable to make up any on Yannick. Yannick currently sitting in 6th, also not gaining any ground on Steinbach ahead. Sorensen back in 4th is gaining ground on the Minister of Defense, Mike Doling, in 3rd. Meanwhile, Adam Barker still holding off Giancarlo for the moment. Sorensen back in 4th, now 5.8 seconds behind Mike Doling. He is gaining ground quickly. Yannick Gunther back in 6th has just had a very quiet, consistent morning. Yannick involved in that incident on turn 2 due to some net-coded play. Has not given up, just keeps fighting, trying to make up any ground he can here. Interesting note, the drivers that have the fewest amount of off tracks this morning, 7th place Andrew Lau, 8th place Dylan Murray, 9th place Cody Kennedy, and 10th place Mike Marshall. Those 4 drivers have no more than 3 off tracks each. Meanwhile, our leader has 7 at the moment. Sorensen has 7. Steinbach has 8. Yannick has 7. Giancarlo currently only at 4. Mike Dolling at 5. Fully expect to hear the drivers exhausted at the end of this race. This one lap around this track is a challenge. They've already done several laps in race 1, and this is their 4th lap, or 5th lap rather, of race 2. Mike Dolling back in 3rd is gonna start sweating in a moment. Nick Sorensen is still gaining ground, now 3.2 seconds back. Cody Kennedy has had a problem, back behind. Cody, who had a rough race number 1, heading down into the bottom of the track, just back in, just steps around on him, but he's able to save it. Cody was able to maintain 9th place. Mike Marshall back in 10th, quite a ways behind. Dylan Murray currently running in 8th. Andrew Lau back in 7th. Has started to close in on Yannick Gunther in 6th. Now 15 seconds behind. Giancarlo in 2nd, trying to stay in the draft of the BMW. This is where the Beamer has had the advantage. The Porsche just does not have the straight line speed. Giancarlo actually picking up a few hundredths of a second down the straightaway this time. Giancarlo still in the draft, trying to close that gap down. Sorensen has really closed the gap on Mike Dolling, but can he get past him? The BMW has the handling advantage, but as long as Sorensen, Dylan Steinbach is on pit road. The McLaren is in. It looks like he needed more fuel. Nick Sorensen has been able to hang with just about everybody all day long. And on the straightaways has been able to pull a gap, get past folks. So can he do it once again against the Minister of Defense? Dylan is back off pit road, but not before Yannick moves up into 5th place. And Dylan Murray is now on pit road. I guess anybody named Dylan needs more fuel. Everybody else is fine, maybe. Yannick Gunther now up to 5th. He is about 30 seconds back from the battle for 3rd between Sorensen and Dowling. The battle is still on for the lead between Barker and Giancarlo. Sorensen staying right in Dowling's tire tracks. Same with Giancarlo staying in Barker's tire tracks. Cody Kennedy is on pit road. So will we see the leaders duck in as they come to the white flag? Will they have to duck in for a splash of gas? Cody Kennedy on his way back out. Both Dylan Steinbach, Cody Kennedy both had 10-second stops. Looked like fuel only. Dylan Murray took 4 tires as he had a 22-second stop. Now the question is this going to come down to a fuel stop? Or can the top 2 go the distance? Nicole Kriesel is now in for her fuel stop. Sorensen still right there with Dowling. Giancarlo still within striking distance of Barker, but Barker has pulled out to a 1-second lead. Yannick still holding on to 5th, is pulling a gap on Steinbach in 6th. Steinbach may be in trouble. Andrew Lau in 7th, now just 4.4 seconds back from him. Dylan Murray holds on to 8th, Cody Kennedy in 9th, and Mike Marshall in 10th. Nicole Kriesel back in 11th, Harry Volsmeer out of the race in 12th. Adam continues to put just a little bit of breathing room between him and Giancarlo. That gap now 1.3 seconds. Meanwhile, Mike Dowling, as they come through the carousel, he has 0 breathing room. Sorensen right there with them as they head toward the long straightaway. Steinbach still holds on to 6. Lau lost a little bit of ground over the last few miles, but is starting to close back in. The gap 4.8 seconds. Whoa, Giancarlo was way out of. Giancarlo is full sending it. Giancarlo to the lead. That car looked like it was barely under his control for a couple of turns. He did not lift, sent it around, and managed to get past Adam. What a move. Wow. Looked like after the landing, Giancarlo just barely had control, gathered it up just in time to get past Barker. Here they come down the long straightaway. Barker still within striking distance, about a half second back. Adam Barker is on pit road. Giancarlo does not stop. He thinks he can go the distance. Mike Dalling and Nick Sorensen now coming down the long straightaway. Will one or either or both would need to stop here? Mike Dalling is headed in. Sorensen is headed in. Adam Barker on his way back out, but is now giving Giancarlo a 28-second lead. Mike Dalling, Nick Sorensen headed toward their pit stalls. Has Yannick conserved enough fuel to pick up a couple of spots here? A 5-second stop for Adam Barker, a 5-second stop for Nick 3-second stop for Sorensen. Here comes Yannick. He has closed a ton of gap. He did not have to stop. Yannick now in 5th, just about 8.5 seconds behind Dalling in 4th. Nick Sorensen now to 3rd. And Giancarlo with the lead, now out for a nice calm Sunday drive. He's got a 28.25 second lead. Adam Barker has to hope that that team's fuel calculations are completely wrong and he runs out of fuel. That is the only chance he has. Sorensen managing to get by Mike Dalling on pit road now. Sorensen to 3rd, Dalling to 4th. Yannick in 5th. Dylan Steinbach back in 6th, is still closing in on Yannick. Andrew Lau currently runs in 7th, 4.4 seconds behind Steinbach. Mike Marshall has had a problem and he is towed to pit road. Down the hill just past where he had the last time he had a problem. just gets a little squirrely and ends up on the inside wall. Giancarlo and Yannick Gunther, the only two drivers to not make a pit stop. Nick Sorensen managed to take third on pit road, but Mike Dolling not far behind, still trying to fight his way back to third. Sorensen has a 1.7 second gap ahead of Dolling at this point. Can he maintain it? Steinbach, meanwhile, has just about caught Yannick Gunther. That McLaren has been on a tear all morning. And here we go. Yannick side by side as Steinbach tries to get down to the inside. They switch back to the right-hander. Yannick holds him off. And Andrew Lau is closing in now as well. We're about to have a three-car battle for fifth on the final lap. Nick Sorensen has pulled a bigger gap on Mike Dolling. Dolling now 2.25 seconds back. Meanwhile, Giancarlo's lead has shrunk a little bit. He is just conserving at the moment. Giancarlo's lead still 25 seconds over Adam Barker. Sorensen in third, 28 seconds behind Barker. Dolling 2.5 seconds back in fourth. Steinbach in fifth. Has finally gotten past Yannick, and now Lau looks to the inside. They almost touched. Andrew Lau now to sixth. Yannick back to seventh, and Steinbach back in the top five. That McLaren all morning long has put on quite a show. Those of y'all still trying to get in a Nürburgring race this week, consider using the McLaren. Giancarlo coming out toward the straightaway for the final time. Oh, Rudolph stating Yannick likely in fuel conservation mode. Yeah, looking at his lap times, I'm betting you are right, Rudolph. Giancarlo down the straightaway one last time. This will be Giancarlo's second sweep of the season. Out of the final turn, down the final straight, Giancarlo does it again. He will sweep at the Nürburgring. Adam Barker on his way through the final turns. Barker about to come home in second, and Nick Sorensen has a great comeback from 2 incidents early in the race. He is going to pull off third place. And Adam Barker, once again, is the champ. We knew that coming in, but great job to him as well. And let's talk to our top three and our new champ. Nick, I have to say, when you talk about comebacks, your comeback this morning was really impressive.
Whoa. Yeah, thanks, Doug. Thanks. It's the Nürburgring, you know, you never stop driving, no matter what happens, because you never know what could happen.
Well, that is definitely true. You did pick up some ground on pit road as well, and man, that car, that Mercedes, has just been on fire all morning.
Yeah, the car was doing well, and it was just up to me to get it done. I had a little spin there, but that's what I said. You keep driving because you never know what'll happen.
Great job, great comeback, and a great season, buddy. Congratulations.
All right, thanks, Doug. Take care.
Adam Barker coming home in second and securing his title once again. Adam, you come home in second, but once again, you are the champ.
Yeah, it was a crazy race. Giancarlo just managed to save the fuel behind me. I knew I couldn't make it on fuel, so I was trying to push for the last 2 laps, trying to get a gap so he couldn't use me as a slipstream. But yeah, really good race. The wind still eludes me around here, so we'll, hopefully next time I'll be able to get a W. But really good race. Great race from Giancarlo, and yeah, good end to a season.
It definitely was an awesome end to another championship. I believe your 4th championship season.
Yeah, really good. Super pleased with that. It's so much fun racing with these guys. They push me harder every year, so it all makes us faster, and it's a great bunch of people.
Well, great job, buddy. Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
Adam Barker comes home in second and gets his championship, but Giancarlo wins the race and sweeps again. Giancarlo, another sweep and a great strategy hanging out behind that big BMW to save fuel.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't sure. No one was really sure if they were going to make it. Some of us started to fuel save. Some of us started to pit. It was... There was a lot going on in that race, but I just barely made it with like a half a liter left at the end.
Well, better to come across with only a half liter than stopping early, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I realized once I pit that I put too little fuel in, so I immediately went into somewhat fuel saving mode.
Well, it definitely paid off, man. You battled all morning and get your second sweep of the season. What a way to end the season, and hopefully we'll see you back running for another championship next season.
Yeah, that's the plan. I might be in and out for the next month or so, but hopefully starting next year, we'll be a bit more consistent.
Well, man, another great job, another great sweep. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, Doug.
Giancarlo gets the sweep. Adam Barker gets the championship. Don't forget to come back tonight, 7:30 Eastern. BRR Cup Series is at New Atlanta. You're not going to want to miss that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope y'all had a great time, and we will see you tonight. Have a great night, everybody.